Todd, how's it going?
What's up, Brett? Morning.
Morning. I know we jumped on some calls earlier and had some conversations. We thought it'd be important to send out some uh, help and videos to some people we're working with. So tell a little
Absolutely.
bit about South City or the South City group to people who might be watching this video for the first time.
Yes, South City, we're simply a small boutique executive coaching and development firm. And our coaches are, our distinction would be that all of us as coaches are actually dual trained. So that means we're trained clinically uh, on the field of in the field of psychology, as well as on the leadership side. So we come alongside leaders, whether they're corporate leaders, corporate America, or small business owners. We help leaders galvanize greatness in themselves, their teams, and their organizations.
Hmm. And last week you and I were talking about, there was an article going around, I think in the New York Times, somebody was talking about don't be productive during this time. And I've been like super productive. I'm running more, exercising more, I'm cleaning out things, and that's creating some, I don't know, interesting conversations. So
Mhm.
you and I talked about this idea of productivity. I just don't replace the hustle, right? Kind of with all this other stuff. So I don't know if you want to say more about that. I think it's an interesting time right now for us to kind of think about this conversation.
It's a great topic, and you're right. All of us are getting emails from every company, every brand we've used, whether it's running shoes or clothing brand.
Yeah.
Everybody's putting out 3 tips to be productive right now. So we're getting vendors are reaching out to folks. So it's huge. So there's an onslaught of that kind of advice coming down. One of the big distinctions that I think is important. There's nothing wrong with productivity. However, if you are obsessing about productivity in a way that is just trying to keep up and prove yourself, you're probably not doing anything different about your level of burnout.
Hmm.
And if that's the case, then it's actually working against what we would advise, which is protecting personal wellness.
Hmm.
So if your productivity ended up being part of your personal wellness, then it's actually what we would encourage. But if you're being productive just to prove yourself or to save your job or to work harder and it's just making you more miserable, more anxious, more irritable, less sleep, more erratic, angrier, more frustrated, more stressed, that's actually not personal wellness. So then that productivity is not something we would actually encourage that you need to continue to pursue to the degree that it's hurting your wellness.
Yeah, and it seems like this is really important right now because a lot of people are trying to work harder than ever. And you and I know that eventually what could happen is it could lead to burnout. I don't know. Tell me more about burnout because I know it's switched categories here recently this last year, and it's been an important topic as we're working with people.
I know it's incredible. Like we just found out this last year for the first time ever. So the World Health Organization just listed a new diagnosis in their international classification of diseases, and the diagnosis is called burnout.
Hmm.
It's actually a disease. It's listed as a disease now, a full diagnosis disease. And what they mean by burnout, what they classified it, the way they defined it, was chronic workplace stress not being successfully managed.
Mm.
So a lot of us can't do much about workplace stress, right? You have
Yeah.
workplace stress. I have workplace stress. Everybody we help has workplace stress. Workplace stress is not the problem. It's that if it's not being successfully managed well, which leads us to be talking about personal wellness.
Yeah.
In other words, if we're not protecting personal wellness, our productivity is going to stink. Our work product that we're putting out there is not going to be very good if we are not well. And that's why burnout right now is a huge topic.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of how does one go about protecting their personal wellness then? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think there's really 4 big dimensions of
Hmm.
wellness that I think a lot of people in the space of wellness would define.
Hmm.
I know the Energy Project is an organization that does this. A corporate athlete
Yeah.
There's been articles written on the corporate athlete, and a lot of folks talk about really wellness in 4 different dimensions of your life. First of all, the physical, being physically well, taking care of you, sleeping well, and eating the right kind of whole, healthy foods, getting the right kind of exercise. And that sets you up to be able to be thinking a lot more clearly. So mental wellness is huge. Thinking sharply and putting positive thoughts in your head and seeing things for what they are, not catastrophically. And that leads to having poise and positivity emotionally and being emotionally connected to others, taking care of your emotional and relational wellness. And then the fourth one is what they call spiritual wellness. And that could be anything from someone who's a person of faith, as well as just volunteering, being about something that's bigger than you are.
Yeah.
Being about a bigger cause or contribution in the world and how to help and
Yeah.
serve someone else, and really a mindset and a heart of gratitude for something is considered spiritual wellness.
Yeah,
So I
I think
think what we
mind, body, spirit, right, a lot, right? I like these 4
absolutely,
distinct categories. I think are
yep,
really critical.
yeah, it's like how are we doing in each of those levels of our life? And I think we've got to do a self-examination to go, hey, how am I protecting my wellness in each of those 4 dimensions? And look, right now it's really hard. A lot of our what we know of our basic routines have been completely disrupted. It's not as easy to wake up in the morning, get your little cup of coffee, get in the car, go off to work. If you have a job, and have a safe space there to get in your routines. We've got, if you have little kids at home, or whatever your situation is, we're all at home. We're locked in the house, and many folks are trying to have, how do both of us as spouses find a margin to do our job? And if we have kids, how do we homeschool our kids? How do we
Yeah.
do all this and stay positive and have poise? And it's not very easy.
Yeah, something I've liked doing is just taking out a piece of paper and drawing 4 columns down it, and physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, one in each category.
Mhm.
And then maybe brainstorming some different ideas for each one, maybe talking to your spouse about which one, interests them or they have energy towards, that you can support each other in. There's lots of ways to do it. And it also seems, the research seems to think that, I guess it's the physical piece maybe that ignites and kind of sets everything else in motion. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, what we know about physical exercise, I mean, there's so much research that the way the brain works is the
Mm-hmm.
brain gets lit on fire when we are physically active, when we get out. And it doesn't mean you have to go run a marathon, but getting out and walking the dog around the neighborhood. I mean, you and I have commented so many times about how many people we actually meet. We're
Yeah.
not going out and shaking their hands, but we see people walking. Families, what were they doing before? That's what I'm asking my wife, is where are all these people before? All these people that are now running and riding
I
bikes with
know.
their kids. I'm like, this is amazing. What were they doing before? So there's something about getting out, exercising, doing something to get the body going, activates the brain, and the sharper thinking and the mental focus that can happen actually improves your work product. I mean,
Yeah.
if we're just trying to just be obsessed about working, and we're not taking care of ourselves, what are we producing with all
Yeah.
of that work? Our work product is not going to be very good if we're not really taking care of ourselves.
Yeah, and I think I talked to you a couple weeks ago. I mean, I've been running a lot, and I had to realize after talking to you, I don't need to like prove anything right now or rack up the most mileage I've ever done. I'm not training for any races. I need to dial it in and just
Yeah.
be physically active in order to stay healthy and not burn out during this
Mhm.
season, especially. It seems like,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
I think the big question for folks to answer, and you even mentioned it a second ago, is, maybe have a conversation with your spouse. And,
yeah,
and what I would say is, hey, what's our priority right now? If our priority is to figure out how to make sure our kids are healthy and doing some level of school, if that's their situation, then what do we need to do to work together to make that happen? If our priority is to make sure that we are in a good mental state, well, what's it going to take to make that happen?
yeah,
Maybe we got to work together to be teammates, to plan our day, to make sure that there's a cadence to our day where we're tag teaming, we're helping each other. We're finding times where you can go walk, or go for a run. There's times where I can go for a run, or get on the exercise bike or whatever it is that we need to do to make sure that we're helping each other stay physically active so that we can be mentally focused and able and positioned to take care of our family and take care of work.
Yeah, well, that made me think, it brings back memories that you and I were once, and I guess we still are marriage therapists as well. And we do a
Mhm.
lot of work with leaders and their spouses and stuff. So, maybe we should come back on at a call another time here and talk about that communication piece, because that seems really
Sure.
critical with people and how they strategize their day. Sound good to you?
Absolutely love it.
All right, Todd, talk to you later.
Take care, Rhett.
Bye.